Hello, students. Now, let us discuss the poem. The Inchcape Rock by Robert Southey, as we discussed, is a ballad and it was published in 1802. It is based on the rule of nature which says, as you sow, so shall you reap, which means that man will definitely get the result of his deeds, good or bad in future. So now let us discuss the poem stanza wise. Students, let us concentrate on the first stanza. No stir in the air, no stir in the sea. The ship was still as she could be. Her sails from heaven received no motion. Her keel was steady in the ocean. Students, in the first stanza, there are some new words for you. Sails, a cloth fixed to the keel of the ship. In the image, you can see there is the cloth. आपण त्याला शिडाचं असणारं कापड असं म्हणतो. Keel, wooden bar fixed on the ship. जहाज प्रवास करू शकेल यासाठी त्या जहाजावरती लाकडी काठांपासून बनवलेलं शीड उभारलेलं असतं. दॅट इज कॉल्ड ॲज किल. नाव फर्स्ट स्टांझा इज व्हेरी सिम्पल टू अंडरस्टँड. In the first stanza, the poet describes the calmness of the sea and he sets the natural setting here in the first stanza. No stir in the air, no stir in the sea. Stir here means motion. Stir here means noise. Stir here means movement. So, there was no movement, there was no stir, there was no any kind of change, or there was no any kind of movement in the air as well as in the sea. Everything was very calm and quiet. The sea was calm and there was no movement in the air also. There was no wind and there was no movement in the air. That is why the ship stood still. The ship was still here. Ship is personified because all of you know that ship is non-living thing, but it has given human quality of movement, making movement. The ship was still as she could be. Her sails from heaven. Here heaven word is not actually the heaven. Here heaven means sky, air. So, her sails from heaven received no motion. Again, as there was no air, there was no wind, the sails, they were motionless, very calm and quiet and still. Her keel was steady in the ocean, and that wooden bar fixed on the ship keel was also very fixed, steady, without any motion. And so its keel, which is a metallic or wooden piece that offers support to the whole structure of the ship, was also steady in the ocean. So overall, in the first stanza, poet describes the calmness of the sea and the natural setting here poet has set. समुद्र कसा शांत होता, समुद्रामधल्या लाटा एकदम शांतपणे होत्या. त्या ठिकाणी कुठल्याही प्रकारचा वारा नव्हता. ते जहाज आहे ते पण एकदम संथ गतीनं, एकसारख्या गतीनं चालू होतं. जहाजाच्या शिडामध्येही कुठल्या प्रकारची गती किंवा हालचाल नव्हती. अशा प्रकारे एकदम शांत वातावरणात, शांत ॲटमॉस्फिअरमध्ये ते जहाज पुढे जात होतं. नाउ let us go to the next stanza, second stanza. Without either sign or sound of their shock, the waves flowed over the Inchcape rock. So little they rose, so little they fell, they did not move the Inchcape bell. Students, in the second stanza, we have the description of waves. The second stanza describes the drowsy, mild sea waves. Drowsy, mild means very slow motion, अतिशय शांत, निवांतपणे. So it indicates, or this stanza describes the mild sea waves without either sign or sound of their shock. There it stands for waves. So, as I said, waves were very calm and quiet. So there was no sign of any sound. There was no sound. There was no movement. The waves flowed over the Inchcape rock. So the ocean waves flowed over the Inchcape rock very smoothly. The movement was so slow that it could make the Inchcape bell ring. The waves were not rising up high to hide the dangerous Inchcape rock and had no power to rock the bell. Therefore, the bell could not make any sound. So little they rose, so little they fell. So there was no too much energy to be rise, or it was means a very steady atmosphere. They did not move the Inchcape rock bell. So actually, as I said, there was no motion in the air, there was no wind, everything was very still. The waves were not rising very high as there was no wind, and so as they were unable to rise up so high, they could not make that bell ring. सगळं वातावरण शांत असल्यामुळे त्या ठिकाणी कुठलाही मोठा आवाज नव्हता. लाटांचा खूप आवाज येत नव्हता, कारण लाटा खूप मोठ्या प्रमाणावरती वरती येऊन उसळत नव्हत्या. त्या इंचकेप रॉकवरती लाटा येत होत्या, पण त्या खूप संथ असल्यामुळे त्या इंचकेप बेलचा मात्र आवाज फार येत नव्हता, कारण पाण्यामध्ये जेमतेम बुडालेला दगड तो इंचकेप रॉक. अँड सो दे डिड नॉट मूव्ह द इंचकेप बेल. Now students, let us move to the third stanza. Here you will have an idea of Inchcape bell. A wooden bar is there and one bell is fixed to that wooden bar. Whenever the sea water level will be increased, that wooden bar will float on the sea water, and as it will float, that bell automatically will be shaking and it will make a sound. पाण्यावरती तरंगल्यामुळे ते लाकूड जे आहे ज्याला ती बेल बांधलेली ते हलणार, आणि ते लाकूड हलल्यावरती आपोआपच त्या बेलचा आवाज होणार. म्हणजे तो दगड, तो रॉक जरी पाण्याखाली असेल तरी आलेल्या प्रवाशांना ती बेल वाजल्यावरती या ठिकाणी तो खडक आहे आणि आपण सावध असायला हवं, हे साईन त्या प्रवाशांना मिळत असे. Now third stanza. This stanza here we can say that beginning of the poem. The abbot of Aberbrothok had placed that bell on the Inchcape rock. On a buoy in the storm it floated and swung, and over the waves its warning rung. Students, the word abbot means the head of monk in a monastery. Monk, monastery is तुम्ही मठ शब्द ऐकला असेल. तर मठाचे प्रमुख जे असतात त्यांना मॉन्क असे म्हणतात. अबॉट. So abbot here is the word which indicates the head monk in the monastery. The abbot of Aberbrothock was a spiritual man, and he was knowing the danger posed by the submerged rock for the passing ships. The collision between the keel and the rock would made the ship to sink. His intention was to warn the sailors about the possible collision, so he positioned a large bell atop a buoy and had it anchored to the rock with a chain. During the storm, the seamen could not see the rock as it stayed hidden under the high waves. These waves recently rocked the bell back and forth, and the sound from it it could produce all around warning the passing ships to the steer clear of the rock, thereby of the disaster. Mariners used to praise and bless the abbot for this kind of act of placing the warning device on the rock. Students, let me describe it for you in simple language again. In previous slide, I have given you the idea about Inchcape bell. You can see the wooden bar, very big huge wood, and it has a bell attached at the top. So abbot of Aberbrothock या ठिकाणच्या मठाचे जे मठाधिपती आहेत, ही वॉज अ व्हेरी स्पिरिच्युअल पर्सन. खूप चांगले व्यक्ती होते, ते दैवी व्यक्ती होते, आणि त्यांनी समुद्रामधल्या प्रवाशांच्या सोयीसाठी त्या इंचकेप रॉकपासून संरक्षण होण्यासाठी समुद्रामध्ये त्या इंचकेप रॉकला एक बेल बसवली. ती बेल कशी बसवली तर वन वूड वॉज अटॅच्ड, एक मोठा लाकडाचा उंडका त्या रॉकला अटॅच केला आणि त्याला साखळीच्या किंवा मोठ्या दोरखंडाच्या मदतीनं एक बेल बांधली. जेव्हा जेव्हा पाण्याची पातळी उंचावायची तेव्हा तेव्हा ते लाकूड पाण्यावर तरंगायचं, आणि ते पाण्यावरती तरंगलेलं लाकूड त्याला पुढे बेल असल्यामुळे जसं लाकूड हलेल तशी ती बेल हलायची, आणि त्यामुळे आपोआपच त्या बेलचा आवाज झाल्यामुळे प्रवाशांना कळायचं की या ठिकाणी तो इंचकेप रॉक आहे. तो पाण्याखाली गेल्यामुळे इट वॉज नॉट पॉसिबल टू सी, बट बिकॉज ऑफ दॅट इंचकेप बेल people could know about it. Now in the first image you can see the boy, there is the one word, no, boy. समुद्रामधल्या त्या इंचकेप बेलला बांधण्यासाठी जे लाकूड होतं त्या समुद्रातल्या रॉकला अटॅच केलेलं, दॅट इज बॉय. फ्लोटिंग अँड स्वांग, ते समुद्राच्या पाण्यावरती तरंगायचं आणि मग त्याच्यामुळे तो आवाज व्हायचा. सो ॲज passengers used to travel through the ship, and whenever that Inchcape bell used to ring, those people, shipmen, they used to bless the abbot. When the rock was hid by the surge sea waves, समुद्राच्या लाटा, the mariners heard the warning bell, and then they knew the perilous rock and blessed the abbot of Aberbrothock. As I said, abbot of Aberbrothock, he placed the bell whenever द रॉक वॉज हाईड बाय सर्ज स्वेल. जेव्हा जेव्हा समुद्राला भरती यायची, पाण्याची पातळी उंचावायची आणि तो समुद्रातला दगड पूर्ण पाण्याखाली जायचा, तेव्हा तेव्हा त्या पाण्यामध्ये शिप घेऊन येणारे खलाशी जे होते त्यांना त्या इंचकेप बेलचा आवाज यायचा. इट वॉज अ वॉर्निंग बेल. अँड that warning bell used to warn those shipmen for or about that perilous rock. Perilous, very harmful, very dangerous. अतिशय तो भयानक मोठाच्या मोठा खडक जो आहे त्या खडकापासून त्या बेलमुळे लोकांचं संरक्षण व्हायचं. आणि मग दोज पीपल यूज टू ब्लेस्ड टू गिव्ह ब्लेसिंग्स, आशीर्वाद देणे. मग ते सगळे लोक जे होते प्रवासी, समुद्रामध्ये येणारे खलाशी, ते त्या ॲबॉट ऑफ ॲबरब्रोथॉकला ब्लेसिंग्स द्यायचे, खूप सारा आशीर्वाद द्यायचे की तुमच्या चांगुलपणामुळे तुम्ही इथे बेल बसवलीत आणि त्यामुळे आम्हाला या मोठ्या खडकामुळे आमचं संरक्षण होतं आहे, या बेलमुळे आमचं संरक्षण होतं आहे. सो दे यूज टू ब्लेस्ड द ॲबॉट ऑफ ॲबरब्रोथॉक. So this kind of introductory part is there in the first 4 stanzas. Now from the 5th stanza there will be another or changing in the mood of the poem. So we will continue the next part in the next video, 5th stanza in the next video. Meanwhile, you please go through the background of the poem, go through the video clip of the poem that we recited, and again try to understand the first 4 stanzas. In next video, we will continue with the next stanza, that is stanza number 5. Thank you very much.